Hey everybody, so today I'm going to do a hike at Big Sucker Creek, and this is a really awesome hike. There's usually not a lot of people here. This is north of Duluth off of 61. You take 61 to Homestead, you take a left on Homestead, take the next left, and that would be this road here, and it dead ends at these things, these little blocking things, so you can't drive down there. And this is the hike next to a field, but it gets really pretty fast here. It's gonna be really windy, so I hope you guys can hear me okay. We got a lot of wind up in the Duluth area right now. So this goes alongside Big Sucker Creek, so you have water next to you on the whole hike. It's an out and back, so I'm just gonna go in about a mile, and then that's the end of it, and then I'm gonna turn around and head back. So here we go. Starts off with this hill right here. The water coming down the hill from rain and all that stuff has really cut a groove in right there. That's a lot bigger than it was last year. Must be from the winter. Wasn't that deep last summer. I see snow way down there. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it looks like there's still snow down here. I haven't been down here since last summer. It's a hike I do a lot because it's not far from my house, and it's just fun. It's pretty. And also that there's not a lot of people here usually. There's a spot back here that would be amazing for camping, and I'll try it this summer, but I've never actually seen anybody camping there, but you can tell it gets used. The river's just right over there. You can't really see it yet, but it's... So there's fishing back here because you see the rainbow trout signs here and stuff. So I always see, you know, signs of people have been fishing back here, but I actually haven't seen anybody fishing. Fly fishing is really big in this part of the state because we have a lot of trout. The river right there still has a lot of ice on it. I'm kind of surprised. I can hear it running, but it's iced up pretty good still. We'll see what happens when we get up here. Forgot to turn my watch on. Can't go for a hike without putting your watch on, or it doesn't count. We're gonna get closer to the river here pretty quick, or the creek, I guess is what it really is, but it's kind of a river. In the summer it's really flowing. One time I was back here with my wife, Reagan. You guys might have seen her in some of the videos, and she fell somehow, like on a root or something. She tripped over it and she fell so hard that I was about 5 feet away and I could feel the ground shake a little bit. She weighs about 125 pounds, so for her to do that, it must have been a really hard hit. I thought this thing would be less snow, to be honest with you, back here. I thought that'd be wide open right now. Really surprised to see all that ice still. If you've seen, oh, they talk about falling, I almost fell. If you've seen some of my recent videos, you'll see that the rivers and stuff are open. This is the first one that I've seen that's not. Man, I almost bit it back there. Gotta be careful. The creek gets prettier as you go further down this trail. This trail's pretty muddy. It's pretty slippery. It's like walking on grease. Thankfully it's not too slippery here. I was concerned. Don't slip. About 3/4 of the way through last summer, I slipped hiking and twisted my left ankle. And for the rest of the hiking season, it hurt. And into the winter I was still hiking and started getting a little better. And then I didn't hike as much this winter because I was working on my book. And now I'm starting to hike again. And I was wondering how my ankle would feel. And so far, so good. I don't feel any pain in it. It was probably good I took some time off because it was really bad. I was doing a river crossing and I slipped on some rocks. That was the worst injury I've had in a while. I'm pretty good usually about not getting too hurt. In the summer, this is all pretty and green back here. It's a lot nicer looking in the summer. I like it now too, though. Like I said, this is an out and back. I don't like the way it ends. I wish it went further. You're kind of just getting warmed up. You're having fun. And then you got to turn around and come back. But it's so pretty, I keep coming back. And if you don't have a lot of time for a hike, just want to fit a quick one in, this is a great one to do. This is pretty typical for the North Shore of Minnesota, this kind of look. Lots of streams, creeks, rivers, this type of vegetation, trees. Lots of rocks. Lots of roots. Our hikes can be kind of wicked just because of all the roots. We have a lot of roots on our hikes up here. Here's some here. Here. A lot of these trees weren't down last year, so they're dead, and they must have came down over the winter. Somebody from the Park Services will come back here and clean all that up. Now here's that campground I was talking about in the beginning of this hike. I won't call it a campground, just a campsite. You can walk out on the beautiful rocks. The river is there, it's just iced over. So in the summer you can imagine how pretty it is. Here's where you have a fire. Some dummies putting plastic in there, it's too bad. Lots of mess back here. I'll have to come back here with a bag and clean up. Yeah, they've left shit all over the place. Anyway, you just walk right through and the hike keeps right on going. So that's one thing about the hike spot. You're right in the center of the trail, so if you are hiking there, camping there, people are going to walk through your campsite. But like I said, it's not very busy here either. Now up ahead, it gets even prettier. Now that's a dumb spot for a fire. I wonder what that was all about. I'm slipping all over the place trying to get up this hill. Made it. Little sun here. Trail's a little dry here, that's nice. Isn't that awesome? We're getting to the close to the end of this hike. Like I say, it's a short one. A little sketchy in here. Oh, slip back there. And this is the end of the hike. Now I have taken this and gone up there. I'm not going to do that today.
You can't really tell, but it's just a bunch of rocks there. You got to kind of crawl for a little bit to get over there. And with it as muddy and stuff as it is, I'm not going to do that. But this is the end of the hike. This is what All Trail says is the end of the hike anyway. I don't know if you could tell, but you can see through that clear ice right there. You can see the water flowing. And that's Big Sucker Creek. That's the out. Now we'll do the back. Pretty slippery in spots. I think I'll wait a little bit before I come back out here. Give it a chance to dry out a little bit. All Trail says it's a mile in and a mile out. Try not to fall down there. I'm stepping on these pine needles, but it's slippery underneath them. On a nice hot summer day, you hike down here and you can sit on these rocks and get your feet wet and jump in if you want to. My wife and I will pack our backpack, excuse me, and we'll, did I take a wrong turn? I did. Took a wrong turn. I don't normally do that. But we'll bring our backpacks, we'll have our camp stove and some food on these kind of hikes, and we'll make lunch, and it's a fun way to go have lunch. Detour. Jeez, look at all the garbage here. I'll come back tomorrow with a bag and get all this cleaned up. So I moved to Duluth towards the end of last summer, and one of the big reasons I moved here was the hiking. I lived in a town called Pequot Lakes, P-E-Q-U-O-T Lakes, Minnesota, and it was awesome there. I lived on a lake. It's called East Twin. I lived on a point on the lake, and I owned the whole point, the whole end of it, so I had water all around the house, and it was really beautiful. But the hiking there was so boring. And living on a lake is amazing the first year or two. And then the longer you're on the lake, and I was told this was going to happen, but I didn't believe it, but the longer you're on the lake, the less you use it. And it ended up being that the only time it got used is if company came up. And, you know, when you live up north, your family likes to come up and visit. And that's when we would use the lake. So the lake didn't mean as much to us after 8 years as it did the first couple. We lived in that house for 8 years, and you know, we were just ready for a change. And Duluth, Minnesota, to my wife and I, is the best city in Minnesota. It's got a lot to offer. The winters are supposed to be brutal, and the weather was really weird this winter because I lived here for this whole winter, and it was the best, I won't say the best, the easiest winter that the people here have had in a long, long time. So it didn't even feel like we had a winter. So for all the talk of how bad it was supposed to be, it was nothing. That's good and bad, right? Because global warming and all that crap. You know, it's hard to not like the warmer weather, but when you live here, you're not supposed to see that. Things are going weird if you see that. When I bought my house, it came with a snowblower, and it snowed one time, and I used it, and it wasn't acting right. It was like a little push one, and it propelled itself as well. And I thought, well, I'll get it fixed so it's working right for the next snowstorm. And it was like $1,500 to fix it, and I was all excited. I got it back, everything's great. And I said, now that I fixed it, there won't be another snowstorm this winter. And that's exactly what happened. I haven't used it since it got fixed. Now, I was told by the weather report, which is really weird in Duluth, you can't totally trust it because it changes by the hour, but we might have snow this weekend. So maybe I still have a shot of using it this year. And I don't know if you guys can hear that, but I hear a jet up above. And since I've lived here, I've been able to tell the difference between some of the planes. We have a fighter squadron out of Duluth, Minnesota, and that's a fighter up there flying. I can hear it. I don't know why, but I didn't grow up around that sort of thing, so when I see them, it's kind of intimidating. Kind of spooky when they're up there flying around. I guess if you've lived around that your whole life, it's no big deal, you're used to it, but we never saw that in the cities where I lived my whole life for the most part, and then in Pequot, never saw that sort of thing. Spooky but cool. I'm like a little kid when they go by. I stop everything I'm doing to see if I could see it and watch it for a little bit. I'm like that with trains too. My dad and my grandpa both retired from the railroad, and we have a lot of trains up here because of all the mining and everything we have going on. So from a young age, I've always been around trains. We used to go down to the railroads and bring grandpa his lunch and stuff. Even after he retired, he got so bored in retirement, and I was around him all the time, we would drive down just so he could say hi to the guys because he missed everybody. We have a train museum in downtown Duluth, and I'll tell you a crazy story. When I was about 6 or 7, I was in school. We had a field trip, and I went to school in St. Paul, Minnesota, and we took the Amtrak up to Duluth, and we went to the train museum. And there were some people taking photographs and video the day I was there. Not of us, but just in general. I didn't really understand what they were doing. And one of them asked my teacher at the time is if they minded having me in one of the pictures. And I had a little sailor cap on, and I had a Minnesota Vikings jacket on, so it was purple. The body of it was purple, and the arms were orange, or orange, yellow, orange. And they took a couple pictures of me. And they ended up sending us a postcard in the mail, and I was on that postcard because they took my address and everything. And then every time I'd come up to Duluth, for all these years up until adulthood, I always liked to stop at that train museum. And there that postcard was for sale. And I'm 53 years old now, and they stopped selling it in the last few years. But for 40 some years, they sold that postcard with me on it, and I have one somewhere at the house. If you go to my website, antonedabs.com, and look at my blog post, one of them is that postcard. The picture for the blog is on there, so you can check that out. That's me in the Vikings coat and sailor cap. Why I wore a sailor cap to a train museum, I have no idea, but evidently I thought that was cool at 6, 7 years old, whatever it was. That was really a fun day, riding the Amtrak up. It was a long day because it was a couple hours up and a couple hours back, and you know, it's a big day for the teachers and everybody. A long day, but sure was fun. I don't remember a ton of stuff from back then, but that's a memory that stands out. Getting towards the end of the hike here, guys. So if my talking on these hikes annoys you guys, say something in the comments. Would you rather me be quiet and walk through, or do you like my little stories and things I talk about? Because I can always be quiet if you'd rather see these hikes that way, and I could understand why you would. For one, I'm probably boring, and two, it's nature. It's nice to have the quietness. If you guys just say, hey, Big Mouth, quit talking so damn much, I will definitely do that, and I won't take offense to it. Well, maybe I will a little bit. It might hurt my feelings, but I'll still be quiet for you guys. And these hikes, like this one here, they're everywhere up here. They're absolutely everywhere. All up and down the North Shore, there's these hikes. It'd take a lifetime to get through them all. Maybe. I'm gonna give it hell. I want to go through them all. We'll see how that goes. There's another fire pit over there with a chair tipped over. When I was younger, when I was still in high school, we'd have parties out in the woods. This would have been an amazing place to have a party back in the woods. One time I thought I could outrun a cop chasing us out of the woods with a keg over my shoulder. That didn't work so hot. I got caught. All he did was give me a scolding and let me go. But I didn't get to take the keg with me. That was probably a good thing. Alcohol has always got me in trouble. I'm not a drinker these days. I don't think I would have got as far as I had in business if I continued down that path. I'm retired at 53. Feel pretty good about that, but I'm only 53 and I'm real hardcore type A, go, go, go. This isn't going to last very long. I've already started the plans of doing a business starting next year. I can't do it earlier because I'm in a non-compete for selling my last business, and I'm going to be doing the same thing. LemonSquad.com is my old business. It's an automotive inspection company. I've got a name for the new company. I have an amazing system I'm going to have built. And I'm going to blow it up to the biggest inspection company in the industry. And then after that, I'll retire for good. All right, guys. Up the hill, out of breath. All right, we did it. That was fun. Big Sucker Creek. I think we kicked its butt. It sure was slippery today, but we got through it. So anyway, I'm gonna catch my breath. I'll see you guys on the next hike. We'll talk to you later.